I desperately need a creeper farm in this world. I have spent way too much time using ender pearls to travel around, so I need to get some fireworks going so I can finally use elytra. And while I build that creeper farm today, I'm going to be reading some Reddit stories. Thanks as always for coming back to the channel. Let's go ahead and judge some people. Alright, here's the first story. Am I wrong for telling my friend that I don't want to end up like her after she told me to lower my standards? I'm a 22-year-old female, and I met Rachel, 23, female, 3 years ago in university, and we became friends. For context, I never dated before, and I'm okay with that. I don't purposefully seek out relationships, and I'm comfortable being with myself. I have a few close friends, and that's enough for me. In contrast, Rachel has had a lot of boyfriends, and she doesn't like to be single, her words. She met her husband, Max, 2 years ago in one of the uni classes, and they quickly began dating. He isn't the most pleasant guy to be around in my opinion, and they had quite a few big arguments during the relationship. He even tried to flirt with me, and I told Rachel about it, but she dismissed it, saying he was probably just trying to butter me up so I would help him with homework. What? Ew. Okay. He has told some sexist jokes in the past too. Whenever they fought, I always told Rachel she deserves better and to break up with him. But in the end, they always made up. He proposed to her after 1 year, and they got married 4 months ago. However, after they moved in together, Max became even worse. He never helps out with cleaning or cooking, doesn't really take Rachel out on dates anymore, and whenever she tries to talk to him about it, Max tells her to stop complaining about wife duties. So a few days ago, Rachel asked me if I would go out on a date with one of her friends from high school who is single and looking for a relationship. I've never been on a date before, so I agreed out of curiosity. We went to a nice restaurant. The guy never asked me a single question about myself back, and I got tired of coming up with questions about him. We just sat for the rest of the meal in awkward silence. We split the bill, and after he walked me to my subway station, he tried to kiss me. I declined politely as I could and went home. The next day I met up with Rachel. Apparently she'd already heard about how the date went from her friend. She asked me why I rejected him. I told her the reasons that I mentioned before, and that I really didn't like the guy. Then she rolled her eyes and said that I needed to lower my standards because I'm honestly not that attractive, that I blew maybe my only chance to date, and if I continue like that, I'll end up forever alone. Even though she knows I'm fine without a relationship. I'm also not insecure about my appearance, but hearing my friends say that about me hurt. I got angry and said, better to be alone forever than end up like you with a husband that doesn't respect me. She started crying and said that I was being rude when she's just trying to look out for me, and then left. We haven't texted or spoken since. Honestly, I'm not sure if I want to salvage this friendship after finding out this is how Rachel felt about me the whole time. However, I feel guilty for saying this to her when I knew it was a sore spot, and also for kind of blaming her for the fact that her husband is awful. Am I the asshole in this situation? Yeah, I mean, I would be okay with never talking to this person again. That's just like a genuinely evil thing to say to a friend, or someone you consider a friend. Telling them that they blew their only chance to date and that they need to lower their standards is crazy. That's insane. I don't blame the poster for lashing back out. I mean, it's not cool what she said as well, but like, her friend made an absolutely out-of-pocket comment, and she just got what was coming. I think it's really nice that the poster feels kind of bad about saying what she said. I think it shows that she's like actually a good person. Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's okay to apologize for saying something mean. You can totally take the high road here and just send one last text that's like, hey, I'm so sorry that I said what I said. I'd appreciate it if we just like parted ways or something. I would say this poster does not need to salvage their friendship, but if they decide to make up, then I mean, like, one more comment like that and you don't ever talk to them again. It's kind of simple. I feel like this one was a freebie. This poster is absolutely not the asshole for this. Let's read another story. You know what? I was gonna build this whole thing out of netherite because I thought it would be easier to build with, but I think I've just decided to use a different block that might look less ugly. So I'm gonna go figure out what block that's gonna be. All right, here's another one. We got an am I overreacting? Okay, there's absolutely no punctuation in this, so I'm going to do my best to read this. Am I overreacting for snapping at my friend for joking about my job again? I recently got a full-time job at a small design studio. Oh my god. Put periods in your sentences, people. Okay, starting over. I recently got a full-time job at a small design studio after freelancing for a while. It was a huge step for me, and I genuinely enjoy the work. My friend works in corporate and constantly makes little jabs about my career being easy or not that serious. I usually ignore it, but during this convo, I finally said something. Okay, and we have the receipts. This is my favorite part, getting to read people's texts. I'm going to do my best to read these texts, but I'll also put them on screen right now. The poster writes, "The client signed off on the rebrand. It was a ton of work, but I'm really proud of how it turned out." That's cool. Must be nice to get paid to doodle all day. Lol. It's a bit more than doodling, but yeah, I love it. I mean no offense. Just saying sounds like fun. Meanwhile, I'm in meetings all day actually working. Wow, okay. I'm not sure why you feel the need to downplay what I do. I was joking. Why are you so sensitive? Because you say stuff like this all the time. It doesn't feel like a joke when it keeps happening. It's not weird to want my work to be respected. You act like I sit around drawing cartoons for fun when I'm working long hours just like you. It just doesn't seem that hard. Sorry, it's not like you're dealing with clients yelling at you all day or managing a whole team. You have no idea what my job actually involves. And for the record, yes, I deal with clients. Yes, I manage deadlines and revisions and creative briefs just like anyone else. Okay, calm down. I didn't mean to offend you. I'm not even angry. I just want you to stop acting like your job is the only one that's valid or difficult. Fine, whatever. You clearly can't take a joke, and now you're making this a big thing. I'm asking for basic respect. You wouldn't like it if I constantly made fun of your work and told you it sounded boring. I guess I didn't realize you were so touchy about your job. Sorry for trying to have a light combo. It's only light for you because you're not the one being put down. Ooh, this would drive me up a wall. This would actually bother me. I'm getting mad just reading this. People that say things like this rely on you being too polite to actually, fight back. Like, they're making a passive-aggressive comment and having it both ways, where they're saying the thing, they're making the remark that they want to say that's kind of snide, but saying it in such a way to where it's like, you can't really call them out on it. And then, of course, when this guy did get called out for his comments, he was like, "Oh, no, I'm joking. You're just being sensitive." I think people in creative professions see this kind of thing a lot, where their work is looked down upon as not a real job by people in corporate stuff, which is just such BS. Like, everybody's job is hard. Everybody's working hard to make money. There's no need for any sort of comments like this amongst your friends. You see this a lot in college too, with different majors thinking that they're better and work harder than other majors. This guy's just making a rude, disrespectful comment and then trying to gaslight his friend into believing that it wasn't rude or disrespectful. And I'm glad that he got called out on his bullshit. This guy probably does have a difficult corporate job, but why go around belittling other people? Just be happy for your friend that is working a creative job and doing what they enjoy and making money at it. That's great. Be happy for them. Don't make snide remarks. You could tell I'm getting worked up here. Let's move on to another story before I burst a blood vessel. Okay, here's the next story. Am I the asshole? I lied to the people who I was babysitting for to get them to come home. I'm 15 years old and I babysit to make money. I took a first aid course and a babysitting course. Last weekend, one of my little sister's classmates' parents had a wedding to go to and asked if I would babysit. I asked how late they would need me and if I should pack an overnight bag if they were going to be staying out all night. They said that they would be home by midnight, so I checked with my dad to see if that was okay and if he would be my ride. He doesn't want me alone in a car with adults he doesn't know. So my dad was there to pick me up at 11:50 that night. The kids were all asleep and I was watching TV. I had texted the parents at 11 o'clock to double check that they would be home in time. The mom had texted back yes. At 12:30, they still aren't there. I texted them again. No answer. I called my dad and he was pissed. Not at me, thankfully. 1 o'clock. I called him. No answer. My dad went and got a coffee at home and came back. He was all calm. Not good. He's ready to blow. I texted every 15 minutes. No response. At 2:20, I had an idea. I texted them that someone had tried to break into their garage, but the alarm had scared them away. They were home drunk in an Uber in 15 minutes. My dad made them pay me for the extra time before we left. He told me that I'm not allowed to babysit for them again unless I charge them for an overnight stay. Yesterday at school, I saw the mom when I was picking up my sister after school. She gave me shit for scaring her and her husband. And they had checked their security cameras and no one had tried to break in. I said sorry, the alarm went off, so I called you. She called me a liar, which is fair, but I don't feel bad about what I did. They lied to me first. My mom says I just should have sucked it up, but my dad says they broke our deal. I kind of feel bad for tricking them into coming home from their party, but they could have told me it was an overnight, or texted me that they were going to be home late. My dad has brought me an overnight bag before when this has happened. I mean, this is just incredibly irresponsible on the part of the parents that this poster was babysitting for. It's okay to come back late, but you have to text the babysitter and let them know. This kid is 15 years old. He's got school in the morning or something. Like, you can't just keep a 15-year-old out all night and not tell them the plan. This kid's dad is outside waiting to take him home. Like, these parents were incredibly irresponsible. They have no right to be mad. Now, they can be mad that they were maybe lied to, but who cares? They needed to come home, or they needed to be clearer about when they were coming home. Listen, I get it. Childcare is expensive, and you want to go cut a rug on the dance floor at a wedding every once in a while. I get it. but you can't be lying about when you're coming home. Just send the kid a text that you're going to be there a little bit later. It's all good, and it's fine. This kid is absolutely not the asshole. These parents are. Let's read another story. I'm already starting to regret this multicolored terracotta thing that we got going on, but whatever, I'm committed now. It's gonna look like what it's gonna look like at the end. Doesn't need to be perfect. I think my boyfriend is exaggerating or faking his illness. I'm a 26-year-old female, and I've been with my boyfriend, a 30-year-old male, for a little under 2 years. In that time we've been together, his chronic pain, which isn't connected to any particular or known condition as he refuses to go to a doctor, has gotten worse and worse. It's reached a point where he's almost incapable of doing chores or house projects, is usually too exhausted or in pain to make or agree to plans, and getting him to do anything outside of the house together is like pulling teeth. His objections always revolve around his pain and fatigue. I've never suffered from chronic pain, so I'm not one to judge or accuse someone of making it up, since the pain itself is invisible and my boyfriend looks perfectly healthy. But he's now been unemployed for 4 months and I'm starting to question things. I'm starting to feel doubtful for any number of reasons, and the main ones are that A, he never turns down his friends' invitations to hang out, even when the activity is something physically intense like kayaking or going hiking or going to a music festival. B, he's never too tired or in too much pain to have sex. Over time, it's almost made it seem like he's conveniently in an unbearable amount of pain when he has to do something he isn't that interested in, i.e. chores. And I'm starting to feel like he just doesn't seem to want to hang out with me outside of what we do lazing around the house. I've never accused him of faking or exaggerating his pain, but I have tried to talk to him about doing more fun stuff together, and it always circles back to his pain or him accusing me of trying to keep him from spending time with his friends, which I'm not trying to do by any means. I've done a ton of research into autoimmune disorders and conditions that could be causing this problem. I always bring my findings and suggestions to him, but he doesn't believe a doctor or any traditional medicine will help him. I'm also bothered because when we go to family outings or parties that we're both invited to, he'll talk to anyone who will listen about how bad his chronic pain is and how frustrating it is to not be able to find a solution to that pain. The thing is, he's not actually looking for a solution. He just smokes weed every day and calls that good enough while lamenting and complaining about his body the way that it is. He also refuses to return to work because of his pain. For additional context, he seems to have really extreme muscle spasms, tightness, particularly in his back. I'm happy to support him through hard times, but the fact that he won't work is getting concerning, and I feel severely stuck. I'm not interested in supporting him financially on a long-standing basis, but at the moment I partially am by covering some of his expenses. If this post makes me feel like a total asshole for questioning the degree of my boyfriend's chronic pain, so be it. I just need help and answers. So here are my questions. Where do I go from here? Do you think it's possible that my boyfriend is using his pain as a crutch? Should I put some kind of ultimatum in place that will get him medical care or attention? I don't know much about chronic pain, so I don't want to disregard this guy's pain entirely. Like, he could very well be in a lot of pain. I will say that the way that this story is being told, it does seem like he is using it as an excuse sometimes to get out of things that he doesn't want to do. Like, it is convenient that he's always able to do these other things that he wants to do with his friends and then not do things around the house. That really is convenient. But I don't know. He could, I could just be misunderstanding the way that his pain works. But if I were in this poster's position, I think I would also be thinking the same thoughts and be suspicious that that my partner is just lying about their pain or maybe exaggerating it. I think maybe that's the thing, is that he probably does actually have pain, but maybe sometimes he plays it up or exaggerates it to get out of things that he doesn't want to do. That could be what it is. But there is an update here, so let's go ahead and read that really quick. Giving you just really quick some of the TLDR on these comments on the post. A lot of them were suggesting the ultimatum thing on getting some actual like care from a doctor, and they were just suggesting that this guy is taking advantage of her financial resources and taking advantage of this poster. On to my update. Armed with some fresh perspectives and fresh frustrations, I talked to my boyfriend and told him that he needs to see a doctor or I will no longer be able to support him financially and stand by while he remains unemployed and unmotivated to get help that he needs. I also addressed the idea of managing/balancing his energy levels differently so that we're able to share household responsibilities more effectively, spend quality time together, and keep him doing the things that he loves with his friends. His response was really bad. He told me that if I'm unwilling to step up and clean around the house, something I'm already doing, that there's no use living together, and that my efforts to clean are the bare minimum and not good enough for his standards anyway. He was also really mad that I hadn't taken initiative to take care of yard projects and car repairs. He sat there and spouted off a whole list of things I'm not noticing in cleaning. And once again, he was focused on the idea that I don't like his friends, or I'm jealous of them, and don't want him spending less time with them, which isn't true at all. He basically brushed over everything I said and focused on my perceived faults. This told me everything I need to know, and I told him I was leaving. He was just mad, not sad or hurt at all. I'm still crying excessively over his whole reaction. I still don't know how real or unreal his chronic pain is, but I guess it doesn't matter anymore. I'm truly at a loss. Yeah, I mean, that was probably for the best that they break up. She was supporting him financially. This poster was supporting him financially, and he was unwilling to go see a doctor and was just angry about the work that she's not doing around the house. I get bad vibes from the guy, and I think it's probably best that they split up. If he really is in all that pain, then I hope he go finds a doctor at some point, but I think this poster is probably better off without him. By the way, I'm following a tutorial to build this creeper farm. I'm absolutely not doing this from memory. And I'm kind of struggling through building this, but the tutorial's really good, and it will be linked in the description. You can find it there. Okay, here's the next one. It's titled, Girlfriend Got a Massive Tattoo for Me. In this story, the poster describes themselves as 31 and male, and their girlfriend as a 27-year-old female. I've been with my girlfriend for almost a year. I've always made sure to know that I wanted to take things very slow and that I didn't want anything too serious right now. I've only been divorced for a year and I have primary custody of my kids, 2 and 4 years old. So they are and always have been my priority. I can't stress how clear I was about keeping our relationship casual. Anyways, I have a lot of tattoos. I won't pretend like they're all super meaningful, but most of the bigger pieces are related to my hobbies, friends, family, and random stuff I'm into. My girlfriend only had the tiniest tattoo on her ankle. I was away last week doing a bachelor party in Vegas, and she texts me that she has a surprise for me and sends me a pic of the tattoo. It's a tree that starts at where ass meets leg and ending on the back of her neck. The branches have shitty tattoos that are copies of many of mine, and a few in particular piss me off. One is a copy of a tattoo my buddies and I got done to commemorate a friend of ours that died. Another is very similar to one of mine that was inspired by a drawing my kid did. I showed it to my friends and they all think she's fucking crazy. Her explanation is that she just liked my tattoos, so she wanted to get similar ones but in her own design. And she did it to honor me. She said she got it for me. She went to a shitty artist, so it looks pretty bad and the design isn't too great itself, which I think defeats the purpose of honoring someone. And they mean literally nothing to her. Between her copying my tattoos and having a genuinely shitty tattoo covering her entire backside, I really don't find her sexy anymore. It's a huge mood killer. I'm starting to consider just breaking up with her because what she did seems so insane. On the other hand, we've been dating for almost a year and I'm really into her. And now she has this giant tattoo that's honoring me, so breaking up would suck. Opinions? Getting a tattoo of your partner that is a casual relationship, like a massive tattoo, like a big tattoo, only a year into the relationship, is definitely, it's a bold choice, to say the least. This poster's girlfriend can do whatever she wants with her body. That's totally on her. I will say that I probably would be in the same camp as this guy. I think it would probably freak me out a little bit. Getting copies of his tattoos on her body only after a year is definitely strange, and it's a red flag. I don't know if it would be a breakup level thing for me, but I could understand somebody breaking up over that, for sure. There's an update though, so let's go ahead and read what happened next. Okay, this update is from 9 days after the initial post. Quick update. We broke up. I tried to stick it out, but the tattoo was too much of a turnoff, and I just didn't find her attractive anymore. which is the opposite of what she had intended with it. The breakup went about as expected. She completely lost it, and yes, she was mad because she thought it would lead to something more serious eventually. My artist agreed to finish the piece for her, and he will cover up the bits that match my tattoos. It should be very easy since there wasn't any shading yet. I'm glad she agreed to see him because now her tattoo has a chance of looking decent, and I can be certain that it will be properly covered up. I tried to get her to explain to me why she thought it would be a good idea, but all she kept saying was that she truly believed I would like it and that she thought it would help move our relationship to the next level. I told her she should see a therapist and she told me to fuck off, so there you have it. I think that breakup is probably justified. I think whether or not you think that's justified, it's good that he at least offered to have his tattoo artist cover up the parts of the tattoo that were references to his own tattoos for his girlfriend. I think that's at least a show of good faith and a kind thing to do for the person that you're breaking up with. I just think that if you're ever going to get a tattoo of your partner, of referencing your partner, you just really got to be sure that you're going to be with them forever. And do it after your relationship has lasted for longer than a year, I would say. I don't know why building circles in Minecraft is so hard, but making the circle for this farm has been my worst nightmare. I keep finding mistakes in the circle and having to redo it. Am I the asshole for requesting to remove my thesis partner from our research, which may cause her not to graduate? This poster, by the way, is male. So I'm in a college course with only 8 people, so we're all pretty close. For our thesis, we were assigned to work in pairs, and I got partnered with a woman I've already worked with on several school projects before. She tends to do things last minute, but she usually does them. So I wasn't thrilled, but I figured we'd manage. That changed quickly. We both work night shifts, but she also has a kid. I get that, and I've really tried to be understanding. But I still managed to interview her 3 times over 3 months while she was constantly unavailable. When it came to transcribe the interviews, each about an hour long, we split the work, but she still didn't do any of hers. I ended up doing all of it just to keep us from falling behind. Then came the most tedious and time-consuming part of our paper. We split the work again, and for almost a month, I kept bugging her and messaging her to finish her part, and she never did. I eventually gave up and just did the whole thing myself. I told our advisor, and they made her pay the subscription to the software we were using as compensation. But that was the only thing she contributed. Still trying to be fair, I asked her to handle the thesis defense presentation and script instead. But on the day of the defense, the presentation was unfinished, and I had to fix it myself right there in the room. She arrived 1.5 hours late, and the script she gave only covered 20 pages for a 40-plus page slide deck. After the defense, we were told to redo the tedious parts and rewrite chapters 3 and 4 separately so we could compare and combine. I started mine right away. What did she do? She still hasn't done anything. I've constantly been messaging her asking her for updates, but I just got a, yeah, I'll do it, but still have received nothing. And I constantly see her active on Facebook and posting stories. Finally, I asked our advisor if I could submit the thesis under my name only, which would mean she wouldn't graduate. Now people are telling me I'm being too harsh and I should just carry her one last time. But honestly, I feel like I've carried her through the entire thing already. Am I the asshole for doing this? Even if it might cost her her graduation. I've definitely never heard of like a joint thesis. Like having to pair up with someone else for the most important part of your like college career is kind of crazy. but maybe this is a thing for some professions, some majors. I think this person's doing the right thing though, keeping their professor in the loop about how much effort they're putting in. If the project were smaller, I would say, yeah, maybe carry her, maybe just submit it together. That's fine. But for something as important as a thesis, you want to make sure that your work is being done correctly. And I would be worried that if I included any of her work with my thesis, that it wasn't going to be good and I would end up losing credit for it. It sounds like he's made a good faith attempt to try every single option available, and this feels like it's a last resort. So I don't think he's the asshole for considering this. Anyways, sucks for this poster. I hope they're able to get their thesis done, but let's move on to another story. Am I the asshole for refusing to wash a huge pile of dishes at my friends with benefits house? I stayed over at my friends with benefits house, and in the morning, I woke up to him in the kitchen making breakfast and cooking dinner. For himself and his kids. He has them later that day. The breakfast was pasta bolognese warmed up from previous nights. Don't hate on pasta for breakfast, alright? After cooking, he said something along the lines of, "Since I've done all this, can you wash up the plates?" The thing is, the dishes were a massive pile. Stuff left behind from him and the other people staying at the house over time. None of it was mine. What bothered me most was how he positioned it, as if he'd done something special for me, and now I owed him something in return. I pointed out that he wasn't cooking for me. The dinner was for his kids and himself, and breakfast was leftovers. I told him not to frame it like he did all this for me, when that wasn't the case. If he had just said, "Hey, since you got the day off, could you help me with the dishes?" I might have actually considered helping, but it was the way he framed it that rubbed me the wrong way. He then started calling me a whingy bitch, etc. So, am I the asshole for pushing back? Yeah, I mean, if he's calling you a whingy bitch, like, I don't think he doesn't sound like a great guy to start off with. It's always nice to offer to help to do the dishes, but this poster is absolutely not obligated to do the dishes. Especially if there's dishes left over that were not hers in the first place. It sounds like there was a big pile just built up from over time. This guy just heats up pasta from last night and expects her to do all the dishes then that have built up after a while. That does sound unfair. I missed this. This poster also added, "For what it's worth, I would never expect someone to wash dishes in my house, especially not a guest, especially not with messes they didn't make." And I think that kind of sums it up. This guy should absolutely not have the expectation that this poster is going to do the dishes, or should be doing the dishes. I think I'm a pushover and I would have washed the dishes. but that's just me. That's my problem. This person's absolutely in the right. Okay, am I overreacting for insisting my friend board her dog? I agreed to take care of my coworker's older dog while she was on vacation for the week. Her dog is 10 years old. I originally thought I'd be checking up on her before and after work, walking her, feeding her, the typical dog watcher duties. She paid me $200 for the whole week, which is about $28 a day. I typically charge about $26 a day, so this seemed fair initially. She left me 8 pages, front and back, of instructions for her dog. She wants me to stay overnight with her and pick her up and put her in the bed with me, and freaked out when I told her I had plans for my day off and would be leaving her for a few hours. While I was at work yesterday, she pulled the trim off the door, chewed some of the paint from around the handles, and started to chew on the drywall. Today, when I got home from work, she started to eat and rip out the insulation, chewed up and ripped out even more drywall, and started to chew through the electrical wire. My coworker's in another country 8 hours ahead. Would I be overreacting if I insisted she board her dog for the remainder of her trip? I cannot put my life on hold and supervise her pup 24/7. And above that, I can't stand the thought of her dog getting seriously injured or causing any more property damage. What do I say? How do I proceed? I don't have the PTO to call off work, and I'm certainly not getting paid fairly for the extent of this dog sitting situation. We have some pictures of the damage that was done, and the dog, who's very cute. I'm going to put those on screen right now, and you can take a look at those. But I mean, I feel bad for the dog. The dog is just stressed out and doesn't know what's going on. It's not the dog's fault that it's just completely destroying this house. But I think like a real professional needs to take care of this dog while her owner's away. This dog gets way too much separation anxiety to really like be taken care of by a friend. I think it needs like proper professional doggy daycare from the looks of this absolute mayhem that it has caused in this house. I also don't really think I don't know if this was really irresponsible on the owner's part though. Like the owner definitely did their due diligence and left a lot of notes for the poster to get the full picture of this dog. I just think like if your dog has that many requirements, you should probably just start by putting them in doggy daycare rather than getting a friend to take care of them. Because like the dog is chewing through electrical wire. The dog can get seriously injured from that. I'm curious to hear from the dog owners on this one though. I don't own a dog, but I live with a dog. My roommate has a dog and I love that dog so much. But let me know what you think about this. Let's read another story. All right, we got some subscriber story submissions to read now. Thank you so much to everybody who's been sending in stories. If you have a story that you would like me to read, you can send it over to the email that is in the description. Go on now, get in there. Fall in. Okay, good. Here's the first subscriber story. So this happened yesterday at work, and it's been eating me up since. I'm a 24-year-old female, and I work as a videographer for a theater. During this show, I stepped out into the corridor for a moment, and the theater photographer, male 33, he's worked there for years, called me over. He was sitting in a little backstage corner with some makeup artists, female, in their 30s, laughing and joking around with them. I didn't know the makeup artists personally, so I thought he was just introducing me. He goes, "Hey, this is our videographer. She films the Instagram videos." And then suddenly, with a smirk, he says to the makeup artists, "You guys always say the videos suck, so now you can tell her directly instead of telling me." He kept repeating it and laughing like it was some hilarious joke. The makeup artists got really awkward. They didn't deny saying anything. They just stayed quiet, and then one of them mumbled, "Well, you said it too." I was just standing there completely frozen. I couldn't believe it was happening. I didn't know what to say. It felt like I was being served up to be mocked in front of people I barely know. People who are older than me and well established in the theater. Eventually, when the conversation moved on, I started to walk away, and he stopped me like, "What, did I offend you or something?" I said quietly, "Don't make me upset." That sounds weird when I write it in English, but this conversation was in another language. He rolled his eyes and launched into a rant about how women are always so sensitive. Then he turned to the makeup artist and asked, "How should someone react to criticism, huh? You just ignore the haters if you like what you do, right?" They all laughed and agreed with him. Then he directly asked me, "Do you like your videos?" I was just staring at him, not even blinking. I couldn't find the words. I was too angry and shocked. Eventually I said, "Yes, I like what I do." And he goes, "Well, then that's all that matters." A little later, when I tried to leave again, he stopped me once more and joked, "You don't want to hang out with us lowly people?" Right before I walked away for good, the photographer suddenly changed his tone. He became super patronizing, like he was concerned, and asked me if the theater was funding any training for me. He then started giving me unsolicited advice about where I should study and who I should go to for improvement, all in front of the same people. It wasn't kind or helpful. It was obviously just him posturing like he's some expert trying to uplift a poor, clueless newbie. I was so upset I had to step away for a while. I found a stairwell and sat down, and cried quietly for a few minutes before I could go back to work. After work, I told my coworker everything, and she was furious. She called him right away and demanded that he apologize. He refused and said that I didn't get the joke, and threw in some more sexist stuff like, "You women always get so emotional." He ended the call by saying he wouldn't talk to our department anymore. My coworker told him off and hung up. Now she and I both feel like we shouldn't just let this slide. I'm planning to talk to my supervisor, who's the deputy director, and also considering informing the department head. We're also debating whether to notify the head of the makeup department about what their team participated in, even if passively. I guess I'm just struggling with this awful mix of humiliation, anger, fear, and helplessness. It wasn't just a joke. I was mocked, diminished, and subtly put in a place where I was made to feel like a talentless kid among seasoned professionals. And when I didn't laugh along, I was called sensitive. The thing is, most people in the theater are actually happy with my work. Even the ballet and opera artists, who are known for being demanding and hard to please, have personally told me they enjoy the videos. Sure, I know I still have a lot to learn, but I'm young. I just graduated from university not long ago, and I'm still growing as a professional. I'm not claiming my work is perfect, but it's being well received by the majority, and I genuinely care about improving. What bothers me most is the feeling that this photographer is intentionally stirring up these conversations, almost like he wants to plant doubt in people's minds about the quality of my work. I don't know if it's insecurity or just ego, but it feels deliberate, and I'm tired of pretending it's harmless. Has anyone ever dealt with this kind of friendly humiliation at work before? How did you respond? Did you report it at all? I'm sorry that this happened to you. This is a super relatable story. I have absolutely worked with people that speak in this super patronizing tone. Unfortunately, you just run into these types of people when you're in your career. The good news is that you're doing all the right things by bringing this to the people in charge of your organization and letting them know exactly what happened. Maybe they won't do anything right now, maybe they will, but if they keep getting complaints like this about this guy, then he's going to have consequences. I mean, just from reading this, I can tell that this guy is just jealous of you. You're young, you just graduated from college, you have new ideas, people like the work you're doing, and he absolutely hears all that. He hears the positive things that people are saying about the videos that you're making. And he's jealous. He doesn't have the new ideas anymore. He doesn't get the compliments on his work that he's been doing for so long. And so he's just jealous that you are the young person that's getting a lot of attention, and he's trying to tear you down. That's a terrible thing to do. And it's important that you don't let him. Just keep working on yourself, keep working on your profession. Your videos are going to continue to get better, even better than they already are. And you're going to be more successful than this guy could ever dream to be. Thanks for writing in, though. Don't even pay attention to this guy when you see him. Okay, let's read another subscriber submission. All right, we officially got the farm working. This is how much gunpowder we have after like 15 minutes or so. I was just AFKing. This is pretty good. You know, it doesn't need to be perfect. This is enough. And we officially have endless gunpowder. So this is great. I need something to do for the rest of this video, so I've decided to renovate this cave passageway back at the base while I read the rest of the submissions here. I think I'm going to be going for kind of like an overgrown, cavey type vibe. Alright, here's the next subscriber submission. My music finally made it somewhere, but not the music I'm passionate about. I'm 16, he, they, and I've been writing music since around age 11 or 12, sometime in middle school. I've been passionate about becoming a punk rock artist for a couple years now. I'm an amateur guitar player, and I've been living with my uncle since my dad passed, who I learned guitar from. I just recently finished writing an album that I'm ready to release on streaming platforms once me and my uncle figure out the distribution. I've been uploading music to YouTube for about a year, but it's never gone anywhere. Barely ever got 13 subscribers. Even had an account banned once. Recently I got bored and made a Deltarune fan song. Deltarune is a semi-popular RPG game with a big amount of content released recently. A friend told me to upload it to my channel, so I did, and within a day I've gained subs. The video gained 2,000 views. I've even received praise in the comments I couldn't have dreamed of. Comments like, "This is peak." Praise I've never had. I didn't even put effort into the song. Yes, I am so proud, and I feel like I've made it somehow. But the songs I uploaded and recorded for my album, put tons of emotion into, put much more work into, barely hit 5 views. People telling me to do more Deltarune content. But if I didn't make more Deltarune content, since I don't want to, would my work I put my heart and soul into go anywhere near as far? Somehow my first success has been my biggest demotivator. I love Deltarune, don't get me wrong. But these personal anthems about things I'm afraid to talk about any other way, songs about parents' deaths, depression, anxiety, burnout, affection towards those I love, feel pointless to even think about. I've never even had a video go beyond 200 views before. What do I do after 2K? How can I use this to my advantage? And do you have any tips to grow my channel towards the things I actually want to promote? Hey man, congrats on the successful video and also creating an album that you're putting together. That's all amazing stuff. And you should be really proud. When it comes to this question of making what you're passionate about versus like what people are responding to online, it always comes back to this question of like, would you rather be an artist or a creator? It's this like line that has been emerging, I think, in the last couple years where if you're an artist, you create the art that you're passionate about and it doesn't matter what other people say about it because it's yours. Whereas if you want to be an internet creator, you make something and you put it out in the world, people respond to it, and then you change what you make in response to how people receive it. It seems like today a lot of people are either one or the other. I think there's no shame in kind of riding the line between the two of those things. You found something that people are really responding to, and you can lean into that and get people to have eyes on more of your content. You can make more Deltarune songs, bring more people to your channel, and then keep releasing music that means something to you, that you're passionate about, and has more of those themes that you're talking about. Unfortunately, what people watch these days is dictated by algorithms that focus on promoting content over art. But I really relate to this email. Thank you. Thank you for writing in. Congrats on the success. Let's move on to another story. Okay, we got one last subscriber story here. They write, "For context, me, 18 female, and my girlfriend, 20 female, have been dating since high school, when I was 15 and she was 17. Ever since, things have been just wonderful. I had the chance to experience so much with her, and we haven't had any fights during our 2-year relationship. Just little inconveniences that we've known how to solve. The thing is that I've always had a little voice in my head telling me that I'm not good enough for her, mainly because of some insecurities I had since before we started dating, and the fact that the first steps, kissing, asking her to be girlfriend, etc., were done by her. At times, I feel that I just don't do enough for her. The real problem started once I realized that there was a chance that we were being serious, like let's get married and grow old together type serious. This was a few months after our first anniversary. I haven't been able to shake off the thought that I would rather experiment and date more people before I settle down with someone. It's crazy for me that the first ever relationship that I have has potential to last forever, leading me to think about settling down at age 17. This want to experience more has gotten worse since I got into med school. For some context, I'm not an American, and where I live, university students, especially ones that live in big cities like the one I live in, don't move out. So we both still live with our parents. Before getting into med school, I already feared that I would have to break up due to the lack of time together. Since I would be in med school, I wouldn't have enough time for our relationship, and we already had some problems related to how often we would see each other. And I just couldn't stop thinking about how it was going to only get worse once I had to study for a million tests and quizzes. Now that I'm in med school, we've had a few weekends that we could not see each other because I had to study, or situations in which I had to study while we were hanging out at my place. Also, since I'm at uni all day long, we don't really get time to talk during the day. We have talked before about people asking their partners for a breakup to experience and go out with other people, to which she said something like, I mean, if you want to go experience other people, just break up with your partner. Then she told me that if I ever asked something like that of her, she would be breaking up with me instantly. Not like I expected her to be like, yeah, I don't mind as long as we're together, but it just made me feel guilty. Now, the big problem is that I think I like someone else. I met a friend and a classmate of mine, 18, male, during the first week of university, and we bonded almost immediately. We were both in the same friend group with like 10 other people, but we were both in like the inner circle. Every time he walks into the classroom, I feel like my heart skips half a beat, and I feel like this adrenaline inside my body. I just feel happy. When we met, I just felt this spark between us. It's just sort of clicked and felt right. Now, what didn't and still doesn't feel right is the fact that I not only have a girlfriend, but he's also taken, and has been for longer than 2 years. Not that I would try and do anything if he was single, but it just drives me more insane and makes everything much more difficult. I don't know if the common idea that high school sweethearts don't last and that I'm not going to be able to give our relationship the time that it needs has affected and conditioned me to think that I have to break up with my girlfriend at some point, or if it's just one of those things that I can't control about myself. I also have to admit that I've had some dreams in which I essentially am cheating on my girlfriend, and I end up feeling so guilty afterwards, even if I know I can't control what I dream about. I'm lost and confused, and need someone unbiased to give some advice on how to approach this problem while harming the least amount of people possible. What should I do? I never really want to give direct advice, like in these types of situations, on whether or not, like whether you should break up or stay together. So I apologize. My answer here is going to be a little bit of a nothing burger. There might be commenters that can offer some better perspectives on your situation here. That being said, people have attractions, and that's completely normal. You're human. But if the frequency or intensity of those outside attractions in a relationship is getting to be a lot, then that could be a sign. In this kind of situation, you should ask yourself the question of if you're with your partner because you actually want to be with your partner, or if you're just staying together because of all the history you have. Like, you need to make sure that you're being fair to your girlfriend. She cares about you, and it's not fair to her if you're just going through the motions or staying with her because that's just the way it always has been. With all that being said, all these doubts that you're having could just be a symptom of you guys spending so much time apart. Like you said, you're going to med school, your girlfriend's doing her own thing. And if you figure out a schedule in which you can spend more time together, then maybe you can rekindle those feelings that you had at the beginning of the relationship or earlier on, and be a little bit more confident in what you have right now. But I'm confident you're going to figure it out. I say it a lot because it's easy for me to say, but trust your gut. You'll know what to do. I think I may have overdone the vibe a little bit too much, but you know, I think it looks okay, and we can always redo it at some other point. That's all the Reddit stories in Minecraft I have for you today, though. Look at this, we finally have flight. It's about time, for real. But thanks again so much for watching. It truly means a lot. And remember, you can't spell subscribe without a U. I wrote that down in my notes app like a week ago. Like, yeah, that one's gonna crush. Oh my god. All right, bye.